Hello guys, Fits My Fitness here, Alicia and Marta. Today
we have special guest, Heather Mary Gordon, especially for US from you guys. Some of you know her, remember her. If you don't know her, you will love her after this interview, so check it out.
Guys, Heather is energy bomb, contagious person, absolutely sharing her energy with everybody. Once she enters the room, you feel the energy straight away and you want to dance, you want to move with her.
So she's Irish dancer, personal trainer, Pilates trainer, and so much more. Guys, she's the owner and creator of
Working the Barra and Beyond program. Guys, you have to check it out.
We're gonna list below this episode, so don't worry. She's a powerful woman, always chasing the dream. So helping and supporting others always. So lots of charities, you name it.
Guys, as Heather says, today is ideal. So don't wait for tomorrow. Whatever is in your head, do it. Now is the time. Enjoy this podcast, get inspired. Let's do it.
Check it out.
Great to see you.
Yeah, I haven't seen you like for 3-4.
It's got to be, so remember, 2000, it's got to be 3.5 years because I think I left 3 years ago. Time always gets to me because sometimes I think I've been here like 5 years and then I'm like, no, you've only been here 3. But yeah, it has to be like 3.5 years that I've actually seen you in person. I tried to, every time I went to Ireland, to try to stop in and surprise you guys, but you know, it's always, I think I have more time than I do. And then I was supposed to be going to Ireland now and it's not happening because of everything. Like the plan was, the plan was to go to Ireland, do some workshops, and then go to Portugal and do some vacation and maybe like Croatia or something, but that's not happening.
Yeah. So tell us your journey to fitness professional, how it all started, because we know you've been an Irish dancer in Ireland and now everything went so fast, and now you're in the States, you're doing your own program. So tell us a little bit more how everything started.
So I was a competitive dancer, and when I finished competitively dancing, I kind of taught for a little bit of time, but I wanted to do professional dancing. I got kind of towards the end of my, I would say like my 3rd year in college, I decided I wanted to go back to fine arts versus being in the sciences. But as all parents tell you to, you're going to finish your degree because we have helped you pay for that. So you'll be finishing your degree. So I finished my degree. I had a minor in fine arts and I tried out for multiple different shows. I got into them, but I decided on Lord of the Dance, I went out to Las Vegas and I lived there for 2.5 years dancing on stage. I am quite a hyperactive person, and although I loved dancing and I loved being in performance, I was avidly going to the gym since I'm 15 years old. I like movement. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I like movement. I like aerobics. I like dance. I like spin. I like whatever you throw at me. As long as I feel like it's a challenge, but I can accomplish it, I'm in for it, right? Even if I'm not that great at it, it is what it is. When I was out, When I was out in Las Vegas, I started with a personal trainer. And she really inspired me. And I said, you know, this is great because she's inspiring me in the same way that I kind of was inspiring people on stage, but she was helping me. And I think that's where in my mind, as I was doing that, I started to think to myself, you know, maybe I can do something where I'm helping people, right? Maybe I can teach dance at some point. I guess that was where I was going, or teach Pilates because Pilates is what I've been doing since I was 15. So I finished touring in Las Vegas. I came home. I taught dance part-time for a while. Then I went on tour with another company, and I toured Eastern Europe, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Poland, all of the major Czech Republic, all of the Eastern Bloc countries. Then I did a little bit of Asia. That was awesome, and I loved it. But what I didn't like about being on tour was stuck on a bus. It was the worst experience of my life. Being on a bus is you don't move. And I guess, like I said, I'm like, I need to move. I need to get out. You're not really in control of what you're doing. And so I needed to figure out how to get in control of what I was doing. So I came home. There was no tours for a very long time. And one day I just packed my bag. I bought a one-way ticket. I didn't tell anybody. I paid $1,000 for an apartment that didn't exist. That this year I got the money back from Western Union. So it finally. Yay! Yep, I got a check in the mail saying this was fraud. I arrived in Dublin and I had to search for an apartment. I live with a friend out in Carlingford because I have family that are from there. And from there, I just started to teach fitness from I had a small fitness certification, I had a group exercise and I had Zumba. So I was like, okay, we're going to start teaching. And I just kind of did my thing. I went into facilities and I asked, can I teach? I showed them what I did. Probably one of the most embarrassing moments, I think that was on there that you asked about. My most embarrassing moment as a fitness professional was in David Lloyd's in Dublin, where I did a one-on-one Zumba class for a male manager and shook my butt for 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yes.
That had to hurt.
So I got the job nonetheless. I'm not sure I got it for the right reasons, but I got the job. I was able to get into where I wanted to get into. And coming from the United States, that's just the way we did things. It was not like that in Europe, but I was like, I'm just going to do what I think I know. So I got jobs in different locations and just asked for a salary. I was like, can you pay me 50 sterling at a local location? And if I was going to Dublin, I said, can you pay me 75? Because I can't afford to come in and out. It's not worth my time or my money to do this. I don't know if I sold myself well, if I'm a good saleswoman, but people took me on and they paid me the money. And I started to kind of go out in other formats. As you know, I started to teach different things besides that because I wanted to help people more. So Zumba, I was performing again and helping people mentally, but I was like, I'm still not helping people in the way I want to help them. They are getting healthier. They are feeling better. I was, involved in this awesome community. So I felt like I was, my life was taking on this fabulous turn. But I guess I wasn't really where I needed to be. There was always something that was nervous about me. And it's still to today, it's part of being a performer. There's always something nervous about me. And I think the thing about it is that I put expectations on myself. It's not necessarily anybody else. It's not those outside sources. It's this that is really the game changer. I'm not sure how you feel, but as I gotten older, this has gotten stronger. So that really changes everything, right? My capabilities, I've always been a strong person. I've always really known what I wanted to do. I've always been goal oriented. But when my mind became stronger, that's when everything started to really roll out the way that I wanted it to, in the way that it really should have.
Yeah, we feel the same way. We have our goals as well, and very often we create some things in our head that actually doesn't exist.
Yeah, no one can see it. Just that's in your head.
Yeah,
and that's the one
not
thing.
Unnecessary stresses. Yeah.
So
yes,
not everyone knows, but Heather was our first Zumba instructor. So we went for the class because no one knows this story, and we've been just behind and in the Zumba gear because we didn't know that you need to have a Zumba gear to be on in the class. And as we noticed that we have the Zumba gear and you haven't.
Nobody else did.
So straight away you noticed us. And yeah, that was our first class after training, I think, and we're like, oh my god, we are not gonna do it, seriously. Yeah.
But so, you got us hooked, absolutely. Yeah, you straight away got us into it, and we wanted to do more and more. Fire
in you, seriously, the amount of energy you have. So tell us, from where you're taking that energy, seriously, because the energy that you have inside you, we used to remember you went for the mountain running, and then straight away you're coming back and you have
doing jump session
for 5-6 hours, and then I'm like, come on,
she keeps going. How are you?
And then after we went for a party, I think we went for a restaurant and stuff like that. So. And dancing, I think we went dancing after. Yeah, the night.
That was an interesting trip in Poland. I will never forget that one. I don't know if you remember all of that, but I remember all of that.
Yeah.
Save me, please.
So where do you take the energy from?
So, not that I believe in, I believe in the universe, I believe in God, but my aunt, I firmly believe I'm like a carbon copy of her. She was 14 when she left Ireland. She had 4 husbands. She traveled all of the East Coast, and she really just died on accident. She tripped and fell on the way to work when she was 89, and she just got a blood clot, and that was it. But she was healthy. She always had energy. I mean, she had the energy to go from 5:30 in the morning till midnight. She was, and I don't know. I think for me, my energy is just like you only get today. You don't know if you get tomorrow. So, I mean, some people are like, oh, you're very hyperactive and you must have a problem. I'm like, I've been like that since I am 2. If you ask my mother, she would sing and I would get up in the crib at 2 and I would dance, holding on to the edge of the crib. Did you do that too? Yeah. I can't help it. I'm like this. I'm like, I got to get up, And so I've learned as I'm older to kind of like, I got to like, schedule my day out, because if I could, I would just like, move all the time. Like, I mean, I still mentor instructors, which I love to do, that. So I have a few local instructors and they come here and we dance for a little bit. And they're like, oh, do you like this song? Do you want this song? And I'm always happy to move. I'm always happy to help people. And I mean, I think that's the greatest gift, right? I don't make a lot of money. I'm not a millionaire, and it's not something that I want. I used to be upset about that. And then one day I was like, is that really what you want though, Heather? Is that really going to make you happy? No, I was happiest in Portugal when I had absolutely nothing. I mean, I lived with my 2 dogs, a chicken below me, a neighbor that hated me, and boxes. And I would just go and but every time I went out of the house, there were so many people that were there, and there was this beach down the street from me. I felt like I was in heaven, and at the same time, I was in this weird purgatory, if that could be a description. But yes, my energy is in abundance, and the more that people give me, it's almost like it multiplies. It is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But you know what? I'm really happy. I have to tell you guys this on a side note about like, having that energy and being a presenter. I don't really talk to anybody in the Zumba community that much besides my friends that I had, because I left. I had a lot of stuff on. But when I did contact Justine, I said, oh, I see your post. You're really great. I'm glad you got the position. And she said, I just think people love me because of my energy. And you know what? I'm really happy that that's back in that position, because I think that's really why that position was so empty for so long. Like, that energy is what people need. They don't care if you make 9 mistakes. You may, but if you give them that positivity, that sells them in a heartbeat. And I know that she has loads of energy and loads of love, and that to me is awesome.
Yeah, no, totally.
And I think when you have it, you just want to give it, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's the people that makes the place that you want to come back to, right? It's not the place itself.
It's not the place itself, not at all. What was I gonna say? I miss that. I was very happy when I had my old clients come into my classroom. I do miss that. And I have so many great memories, like so many great things. And I felt like I was part of this huge family.
You were creator of really, really great community that we had. You were really, really bonding it all together. So we miss that too. We miss you.
Well, I love people, right? And I love people, and that's what it's about. And I appreciate that, because somebody made a nice compliment, speaking of community, someone I don't speak to. And it's funny, she just follows me on Facebook, and she's known me since I'm 17, since when I worked for my sister. And she said, I just love the way that wherever you go, Heather, you're creating this positivity community. Like, you have this community of people that are following you for that. And she's like, I think it's amazing. And it is so cool. I mean, when I went to Portugal, I have this amazing group of friends. You would not even I have like a second brother. He lost his mother, unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, and couldn't see her because she was in a home. She had cancer, and because of COVID, they weren't to get in. But I feel like they're my family, and they reach out to me, and I reach out to them. So yeah. why wouldn't you want to have energy, right? If I could give my energy and I could bottle it up for people, I would like give it to people. I wouldn't sell it. I would give it to them because I think they would be happier. Here, take this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm with you.
So Heather, tell us the next question we have. Maybe that energy in the jars will be the answer for this question, but how to overcome obstacles in your life?
Oh, this is a tough one. I think the most important thing for me, right, is again, that point of not reflecting, because that's something I would have done in the past, but reflecting on what happened, but moving forward from it. Because if we always look back, we're never going to overcome the obstacle. It's like climbing a hill. I was thinking about it. I did really big hills the other day, and the first time I did it, I walked it. I just couldn't do it. And then the second time I did it and I ran it. And then the third and fourth time I did it, I was doing it with confidence. Like I was getting up that hill. And I feel like with an obstacle, it's like the same thing. Like maybe you have to sit down, reflect it, and then you got to try it and then accept that failure is part of the process. That obstacle is part of the process of where you need to be. Because I wouldn't be the person I am if things I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have traveled to all those places. I would have missed out on my favorite place in the world, which is Lisbon. I would have been so upset about that. That was such a pivotal moment in my life that if nothing ever happened, you know, with my life, with my fiance, with my business, any of that, I would never have experienced that. And wouldn't that be awful? It sucks having that bad day, but sometimes it's nice to get under the covers and say, this is a bad day. I'm just going to sit and have a good cry about it. And it's the other thing that I do. I know you ladies know I'm very emotional, and having that vulnerability and saying like, well, this is who I am. And it's okay to be this way. I think a lot of people embrace that about me. Like they're like, well, actually she's pretty honest and genuine in what she has to offer. I think that's how I overcome obstacles. I say I have to move forward, but I have to go through those emotions to get through it.
That's it.
It's always hard when someone else has different opinion, isn't it? And you
Yes.
want to do something in your life, or make some changes, or make a move, and someone is not agreed with you. So.
Actually, yes. Are you the person that would listen to people and follow what they say, or is it you always go in your direction, or maybe you're somewhere in between?
So that's a little bit, people are like, oh, but you don't listen to me. I listen, but I have to process it. So you could talk to me till you're blue in the face, and you're like, oh, she's not even listening. She looks like she's looking the other way. I'm listening and I'm processing, but I'm not only going to do what I want to do, especially now knowing my personality. I got to sit back, think, take a breath. But I definitely, I will say this much. I take seriously the opinions of people that are important in my life, but I react to the opinions of people that don't matter. And isn't that just an awful situation to be in? But I don't think I am alone in that situation. And my current boyfriend would say to me, why do you even care? You don't even care about that person. Like, what does it matter? Do you even talk to them? I'm like, no. So don't matter. It doesn't matter, like, their opinion on it. And I think, I think maybe, I don't want to say it's a woman thing because then it sounds, but I do think it is partially that is like how women are, we tend to do that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make the decision that I feel is going to be right with me. And 100% of the time, it's the right one. Whether I like the outcome or not, I know it's the right one. I mean, I will give you an example. And maybe some people would be like, oh, I can't believe that you would say this on an interview. So I worked for Lord of the Dance, and I do have a strong personality. And the owner said to me, I think you have an eating disorder. And I'll say, ladies, I definitely had an eating disorder. I definitely went through that. I can say that. And that's good. If I don't admit that, how can I help somebody else or hone in on clients who do have that and say, you got to take it back a notch, or this is not healthy, or I've been there. And she's like, well, I don't want you going to the gym anymore. And the gym wasn't the problem. The problem was I wasn't eating enough. That was the problem. And I was comparing myself to others. So she said to me, well, you can't go to the gym anymore. That's abnormal. And I'm like, okay, well then I'm done. I'm leaving the company because that's the only place where I get a mental release. So did I make the right decision at the time? Do I regret it? Some days I do, but then there are other days when I know that if I didn't stand up for myself and I didn't really say to myself, no, Heather, your problem really is this. That is not the problem. I don't think I would be where I am today. I don't think I would feel good about that. I have to stand up for my integrity. You know that. And the biggest thing is I look back and I reflect on those things. I opened an old email. I don't know why I kept that email, but I kept this email. And I opened it and I said, wow, that's funny. Like, I actually never did that. I never ever did that. And I read it back to myself. And during the time that it was happening, I doubted myself. And now when I look back on it, I'm like, no, you made the right decision. You stood up for something that you knew you were correct on. And unfortunately, having integrity doesn't always stand to you in a professional arena, especially in one in which you're on the stage. I've been on the stage my whole life, right? I've been on my stage the whole life, and it's a choice. And, I love it, and then I hate the politics of it. Well, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's so much politics with being on stage, and it's in the fitness industry too. Like, you're playing this game, and some days I'm like, I don't want to play this game. This is me.
So what would you say especially to the women's, because they are, as you said, sometimes it's hard to even say something because they not accept themselves, because they just shy, or they don't want to raise their voice, and
how to find strength in ourselves.
Well, the thing is, if you can't accept yourself, how is anybody else going to accept you? And I think for me, the most hurtful thing in the entire world, and it could be that I'm emotional, but I don't think this is like from an emotional standpoint, is, passive aggressiveness, is like not speaking up. I'd rather someone say to me, you know what, Heather, I didn't like that, or I'm very uncomfortable. Could we do something else? And if somebody comes up and they say that to me, no matter what realm I'm in, it is something that I am going to definitely process. Versus like coming into a room full of people and something's not right here, and then it just continues in this passive aggressive nature. And if you don't speak up, it almost all of a sudden seems like, oh, well, she doesn't really care what's going on. When I walk into a room, I want people to know that I do care, that I do value. I value myself and I value your opinion, but that doesn't mean your opinion is a reflection upon me. I mean, that's your problem. That's your issue. And I think I learned that with Johnny Roberts. Like, that's your issue. Like, you cannot always internalize what other people have. And it's hard to take a step back. But when you take a step back and you look at that person and you think about it, especially if you know them, you're like, wow, I know what's going on here. I just need to take it and walk away.
Yeah.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, anybody, if you don't speak up for yourself, it's the worst feeling. Like, I'll give you another example. Yesterday, somebody said to me, they spoke to me on a visit, oh, I know what you're doing in there and it's illegal. And I said, it's not, because everything I do is for charity. I was like, and everything I'm doing right now is legal, and I'm legally where I'm in this house because I was asked to be in this house. So you can do whatever you want. You can call the cops on me. You can do whatever you want. I mean, that's how people are. They're going crazy with COVID. And he's like, well, you're a very strong-willed person, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And I'm like, I have to go. I'm like, I appreciate your passive-aggressive nature. I'll see you later. Bye. And I walked away. What can I do?
Yeah. But like you say as well, we can learn that. Everybody can learn that, even if you're not feeling very strong to answer to give the right answer to person. You can each time you can review the situation and you can learn to be stronger every single time.
It's a process, right? It's a reflection. It's a process. And as a professional, it's learning how to channel it, how to, you know, what kind of words can you put that it sounds professional, and that at the same time, you're not belittling yourself. Mm. You can stick with your own guts and your own integrity.
Mm. Yeah.
And speaking to being strong, you're definitely just one of the strongest women we know. Yeah. And because you're always chasing the dream, and that's amazing. So
yeah, tell us about your dream. About your action at the moment. It's not dream anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of how it works. My process is this, and I think I've been doing it since I'm 10. First time I wanted to go to Ireland, I wrote a letter. When I was 10 years old, I said I was moving there. I told them exactly where I was going to move. When I was 23, I think it was, I picked up my bags and I moved there. I don't remember. It was a subconscious decision. When I got the Zumba thing, somebody challenged me. My boyfriend was like, you should focus. And I said, okay, I'm going to focus. And I focused and I got what I wanted. And then I really wanted to find a way to get back into my craft. And I kept going to teach, but I was like, oh, you know what? I think I want to do something more. What can I do to help? And I started it slowly. And I was like, you know what? I think I can make a business out of it. And one of my clients back then in Ireland was like, I don't think you can, because, you know, if you don't do it fast, this woman so-and-so she's all over the map and she's going to, you know, wipe you out. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who that is. So I didn't, you know, that's not relevant to me. It's not relevant to me. It became relevant later on. And I started to do it. And I started to see that there was a gap and a need. And I started to say, like, I need to do something more. I am not able to do exactly what I need for these dancers. So when I came home, I started to go to point class, ballet work, to really understand the movement of the foot. I'm physical, so I had to feel what it feels like correctly to be on point. And I realized that as a dancer, I didn't really understand my true center and my true core. But now my core is solid. It's like a bullet, because I know where it is. Like, I really understand it. I reached out to a fellow colleague that I worked with in Piloxing, and I said, would you like to work with me? I'm like, I know I interviewed you for Piloxing, for Master Trainer, and you got it, but they're not giving us work. Would you like to work for me? Kind of started to work together and have a very similar ethos. And I said, this is my dream, to make this into my world and my business. And slowly but surely it started. And then I kind of would fall away from it, because time and money and other things I needed to do and opinions of other people would get inside my head. And that's really where I would falter, because I would allow the opinions of somebody else. Although the girls that I was working with, they were doing very well. They were seeing results. And one of my clients was like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to make t-shirts and we're going to start to promote you. And I'm going to recommend you to people, and you're going to start to get more clients. And you're going to go to schools and you're going to start to do this. So I started to just create a workshop. I didn't know what I was doing. I was basically taking what I learned in Starbucks, Piloxing, and Zumba, all of these major corporations. I was like, okay, I got to make them feel like they're in the third place, because that's what Starbucks does. They make you want to come back for more. Then I got to make them happy, because that's what Zumba does, right? We're happy all the time. And then with Piloxing, it's all about technique. So I needed to learn how to combine those things and put them into my business, because they were key factors in why those businesses were, you know, that's how they were successful. A lot of other things in those companies were not, you know, they have faults, and I processed those as well, so that wouldn't creep into my business, or hopefully it doesn't. Who knows? Jess and I, we started working together, and that was going well. We started to do international workshops. I would go to Ireland. She would come to here. I would start to introduce her to people, and really, right, a salesperson. So when I sell Jess, I'm like, she was a prima ballerina for the American Ballet Company. And she's like, Well, yeah, I was going to be, but I didn't get there. I was like, it doesn't matter because you have the tools. You know, you have the tools. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And you know what? It's easier for me to sell somebody else than it is myself. And isn't that sad, right? Isn't that the sad factor about it? It's easier for me to sell myself. Even with my Zumba poster, right? I sold all of the other people in the masterclass bar myself. I think that's what people like about me. That I am willing to acknowledge other people, their crafts and their skill sets, and integrate them into what I do. My trainers know that they can't offer what I have to offer these girls because I'm the only Irish dancer, number one. So I'm the only one that was actually in the field. Jessica was a ballerina. Although we're teaching her how to dance, it's not her skill set. And Jason is a physical therapist, and he's still trying to understand the mechanics of what we do, because I'm like, you know, there's certain things you can't do with them because you're going to undo what we've done on purpose. Like, there's a reason why we're doing this. It may not be great for the body, but it's great for the craft. And as you know, being an athlete, sometimes we do things because it's going to get us better results in a competition, even if we're not walking the next day. That's just part of why we do it. It's the risk that we take. And then Eric is a corrective exercise specialist. So he's good because he can see movement patterns that are going wrong. Like, he's been doing it for 8 years. So he's looking at those movement patterns. And myself, the kids love Pilates. I did Pilates since I am 15, and I think that's one reason I am not injured. It's my warehouse. I love it. I'm excelling at it. I'm doing, you know, going deeper into that education. And for me, it just makes sense. Everything comes from the pelvis. Everything comes from your spine. That's where your central nervous system is. That's your brain. So why wouldn't you start there before you start to look at everything else? I mean, look here, and then you'll probably figure out why your extremities are having issues. Yeah. Just, it's a different standpoint, right? I'm also in the middle of the Gray Institute, which is functional movement, and functional movement would say, allow the person to move within space and observe the movement. Allow them to do a reach. There's nothing wrong with the way they're doing it, but as you're looking at them, try to understand and figure out why they're doing the reach that way. And that's how you're going to find the injury. I mean, that's what Eric does. So when I watch him train, it's totally different. It's a different approach. It's my dream, and it's my dream to have a dream team. And these guys are the dream team. They love the children as much as I do. You know, they have fun with the kids. And I think that's the most important thing. And I have learned as a professional. I wanted a business in which people, whether they liked us as trainers or not, they could say, they're a great team and they're great people.
So well done.
Awesome.
It's not easy.
So,
wow.
Yeah. And now, one of my little girls, she's quite a superstar over here. She's a regional winner. She's sick though. She has Crohn's disease. So oftentimes she can't do heavy training. It just, you know, it really has wear and tear on the ligaments and tendons in the body over time that there are just sometimes that she can't train. So I don't see her as often as I like, but she gave me a contact to Irish Dancing Magazine, and we had a short interview with them. We're doing, we bought an ad, and so we did an editorial, and we're going to do a social media takeover, and that's very exciting. That's all happening in June, and we're doing our first virtual workshop for dancers.
Awesome.
In June.
In June, the last week in June will be our first one that's virtual. We've done a lot live. I mean, the last one I had the physical therapist on, and that was cool because I would do the workshop. And speaking of things not happening the right way, so my friend Mr. Flight. So I was on the workshop by myself with the physical therapist who I've never done a workshop with before. And although I love Jason, I'm like, we don't even speak the language. He's like, what's a releve? I'm like, forget it. We're like, so basically what I had him do is he took everybody out one by one and he did a movement analysis. They would say, I'm having a problem with turnout. And then he would go and he would take their leg and he would do rotation with them. And he would say, oh, it could be like your labrum, or it could be that you just don't have that mobility. You're going to have to work on your mobility to find a better turnout before you engage those muscles. So that was a huge learning curve. And now all four of us are going to do the virtual workshop and offer to dancers our workout offer them injury prevention, offer them education. We do that every week. We have a Think About It Thursday, because I think children and adults, but more kids, I feel like kids, when you give them knowledge, they just feel so good. They're like, that's awesome. I want to do 95 sit-ups because I'm going to get a six-pack. If you told them that, if you told them the reason why you were doing it, they're like, I'm going home and I'm doing it, and I'm telling my mom to do it too, because that's why she has a flubby belly, because she doesn't do blah, 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 blah. So I think like children are really, they're very intelligent and they are sponges and they want to learn. If you speak to them in a kind way, but in an intelligent way, they automatically relate to you.
That's it. As adults, sometimes we analyze too much. Kids just go for it, right?
They just go, do it. No, it's totally like I am, my friend is going away, a good friend from high school, my high school prom date. He's going away for a week with his wife and his child. They're going down to Florida. They're driving down because you can still leave if you have a house somewhere. And I'm taking over his class just for 2 days. And he went to teach his class yesterday. Yesterday was Wednesday. And they thought I was coming. And some of the kids were like, where's Heather? And he's like, what do you mean, where's Heather? Like, wait a minute here. He's like, you came in and you taught one class with them and they're asking about you. And I mean, that's the biggest compliment ever. You know, I only had 1 hour with these kids to change their lives. And they automatically felt like what I did or how I related to them, they wanted to learn more.
Awesome. So speaking of it, actually, we already know you love dancing, you love any type of activity, you're an energetic person, passionate about what you do. And now tell us, is there anything that people don't know about you? Something, spice it up, make it
crazy hobby or something
that we don't know.
Something that I you know, I live my life like an open book. Something that people don't know about me. I even thought about this and I couldn't. I mean, I guess because people always see me, this is like I don't think it's a bad thing, but people always see me posting like nutrition and all this stuff. So they just think that that's the way I live. Like I eat grass every day. Like I love chocolate. I love sweets. If we could just live on sweets, I would. And that's probably why, you know, I have to be on like detoxes to keep myself healthy, right? To keep that in check. But that is something that I have. It's not ice cream, but it's chocolate. I mean, it's like, you know, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like that is, and peanut butter.
I really like you.
Sorry, I don't understand this, but yeah. Okay.
There are some connections.
Healthy, you know, you start your day with green tea.
Awesome. Yeah. Crazy hobby?
Say it again.
Any crazy hobby you have?
Crazy hobby that I have. I mean, no, I don't have any crazy hobbies. My craziest hobby is traveling. And right now there is no traveling. You know, that's my thing. Like, I think I am climbing at the walls to just get out of here. Like I'm just climbing to go somewhere. And I love traveling. Like for me, traveling is going to Europe or going to Brazil. Like, I don't know. Do you remember Renata she was Brazilian. She came to Ireland for a jam session. Big hair.
No.
Long time ago. Maybe you missed her. But anyway, she's a very good friend of mine. She came to see me in Portugal. And I'm dying to get down to Brazil because she used to live in Switzerland, so I used to go there often. But she moved to Brazil, I don't know, like 6 years ago. And I found her again on Instagram, and she's like, you should come down. I'm like, I should.
Martha is one of the persons that give me a manual and give me the plane, and I will go. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Arrange.
Okay, we want to be respectful of your time as well, because time is flying, we can talk and talk.
Yes, of course.
Is there any message you would like to send to the world, or maybe to the woman, or maybe to the world? Anything you would like to say?
Okay, so I have 2 quotes because you asked me about quotes. So I picked out 2 quotes. And I think this one is for everybody, but it really is if you really want to know about why I live my life the way that I do. This one's by Mark Twain. I have to write things down too. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, and discover. So never say tomorrow, because if they open the airports, I'm booking my flight today. You know, if I knew I could go, because money is only, it's there to be used. We worry about it. But if you give back to the universe, and maybe this sounds weird, the universe always provides. It has always provided for me. I have no idea how, but it has always provided for me. But if you do not give service back to others, I just don't think it works that way. You know, the more you give, the more that you receive. And there are people that will pay it forward for you when you need it. When you have nothing, there is somebody out there that is going to help you. And on that note, you know, for me, I would be a procrastinator at times, and that's why I have friends that motivate me. The ideal day, this is a message for everyone, the ideal day never comes. Today is ideal for he who makes it so. So there is no ideal moment. So if you're out there and you're listening, there is no ideal moment for you to make changes or to do the things that you want to do. It's you who makes the moment ideal. So that would be my message. Don't not do things because you think you're going to have regret. Do them because you will regret it if you don't.
That's beautiful.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, you guys are, I have to say on a message, you know, to the team that just interviewed me, these girls are amazing. You know, it was your 10-year anniversary, right? This year?
Supposed to be, yes.
Your 10-year virtual anniversary, right?
Yes.
I have watched you guys grow as a team, as professionals, as people, and you have a personal journey that's going on, and you have a professional journey that's going on, and you have a global journey that is going on, and you are a force to be reckoned with in a positive way in a country that is not yours. And that is always something for me, being a transplant in Ireland and then one in Portugal. You are doing something that I always dreamed to do, and I commend you. I commend you. I will never forget when you wanted to get your own space and then it just didn't happen. But you know what? Guess what? Spaces right now, nobody wants to have a space because we don't need it. And what you're offering on your YouTube videos and the messages you are sending these people, you are reaching more people than you think. And that's amazing. You know what? I always love logo. I always love Smile. Like, I'm like, you know what? That's what it's all about. Like, these people are always smiling. It doesn't matter. Like, even when they're annoyed, they're smiling. What is it? I need that, you know, and people need that. People need that. That's what they need. That's why people are drawn to you. And that's why people respect you. People have a lot of respect for you. And that's important too. Don't speak to you that often, but I always regard you as very good friends in the professional world, people that I would always recommend, because I feel like you are offering everything to them. You're fun, you're smart, and you make people feel beautiful. And I think that's unique to FitSmile. I have never seen two women make everyone feel beautiful, and you do. And that is such a gift. Don't ever, 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 ever doubt that. When you have your bad day, just remember, you make people feel beautiful. And most of the time, that's the biggest thing. And it's not a physical thing. It could be just themselves. They don't feel beautiful about who they are. And you have this way of reaching people. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. And we've been so pleased that we can finally have a time and speak to you. So thank you so much for joining us. And just few short questions, and we're gonna wrap up.
Sure.
So how people can in touch with you?
Get in touch with me.
Website, social media. We're gonna put up everything, but if you can
Sure.
say, yeah.
So my website is workingthebar.com. You can go right there. There's information there. If you're looking to follow me as a person, I do just keep my Facebook profile as a public one. So I'm Heather Marie Gordon on Facebook. And on Instagram, I'm Working the Bar. And I do keep my Working the Bar quite separate just because it's for dancers, but everything we offer is for the public too. You know, you're not going to get a bad workout if you go there, but if you're looking to follow me and things that I'm doing, go to my Facebook page. You just follow me. You don't have to be my friend.
Okay. The last question.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for the always nice.
So, what is your definition of fulfilled life?
What is my definition of a fulfilled life? So this is interesting. I'm sure you can you hear my dog howling downstairs? I hope you can. Oh, you can? Nice. So, my ideal life is really to serve people. I know that sounds so silly. Isn't that sound silly? But I am happiest when I'm serving people. And I'm happiest when I have adequate time for myself. And maybe that's not what other women do in their routine. It's not, going for a facial or whatever. It's like getting out there for a run, or it's taking my dog for a walk, or it's just not waking up at 4, waking up at 7 in the morning. So for me, a fulfilled life is surrounding yourself with positive energy from your inner circle as well as that outer circle that's kind of your buffer.
That's beautiful. That's huge.
Thank you.
Like a tube, like a tire, your inner tube and your outer tube.
Thank you, Heather. And we want to acknowledge you that you're a really inspiring person, woman especially, and inspiring us. And from the moment we met you, as we said, your energy, your smile, and that you want to be for people in the room, because so many times you enter to the room and you straight away you see people, and that's the most important thing, that you don't looking for people to see you, you see people. So that's we want to acknowledge you. You're always supporting everyone, that you always so many charities, so many, like even charity for your family, charity for other people, and you're always for people. So we want to acknowledge you, that you're an amazing person,
and even no matter how many things you had on, because you're a super busy person as well, you never said no for anything, even for here now, where tomorrow is a big day as well, and you have a charity event coming up, and you still
virtual,
but it's still a lot. We know that, and you still found time for us, even though it's the third time we're trying, because we kind of couldn't manage the first two, but you still found time for us. So thanks so much. You're amazing.
And we are giving you virtual hook, because we cannot do it in normal life. But hoping if they will open the airports, we will find a way to meet each other and
totally.
And go for a nice dinner and just catch up, because there was a long time we haven't seen each other. So
I would love that.
Yeah, thank you so much for.
Thank you. Love you both and miss you.
Miss you too. Hello from Ireland.
Bye.